Hi, welcome to the video tutorial JUnit test for Spring Data JPA. I am Nam from CodeJava.net. Throughout this video tutorial, you will learn how to write unit tests for CRUD operations, create, retrieve, update, and delete for an existing Spring Boot project using Spring Data JPA, Hibernate framework, and MySQL database. You also learn how to use auto-configure test database and use the test methods order to run the whole unit test class in the order of the test methods. And you also learn how to use Rollback database transaction within unit test. To learn coding JUnit test for Spring Data JPA, I will guide you to develop a Spring Boot project using the following technologies: Spring Framework, Spring Boot, Spring Data JPA with Hibernate Framework, JUnit Jupyter 5, MySQL, JDBC driver, and make sure that you have the following software programs: Java Development Kit, JDK, MySQL database, both server and workbench, and Spring 2 Suite IDE. Now let's create a new Spring Boot project in Spring 2 Suite IDE. Go to menu File, New, Spring Starter Project, and enter the project name as Product App, and the project type is Maven Java version 8. Packaging type is jar. Artifact, product app, group, net.codejava, and description. And product manager app to implement the unit test for Spring Data JPA. And click next, and you can see the latest Spring Boot version is 2.3.0, and choose a dependency Spring Data JPA, and click finish. Here we go. The product app project got created this year's Spring Boot project, and open the Maven pom.xml file to see the dependencies information. And you can see by default Spring Boot automatically includes the dependency for test. You see Spring Boot starter test. And to use Spring Data JPA, we need to use a dependency Spring Boot Starter Data JPA. And now let's specify the database connection information in the application.properties file here. Open it. And to use Spring Data JPA with Hibernate framework, we need to specify the property spring.jpa dot hibernate.ddl-auto to specify that Hibernate we create the database upon startup of the application. Create, and then we specify the database connection information: spring.data source data source dot URL. This is a JDBC URL. Since we are using MySQL database, so the JDBC URL is JDBC MySQL // is the server host name is localhost because I'm using MySQL on the same machine. Default port number 3306, and the database schema is test. As you can see in MySQL workbench here, I have a database schema named test, and currently there's no table. Refresh so, and you can see no tables. And the next property is for the username: Spring Data Source dot username. I'm using the username root. And the next property is for the password. I want to show a SQL statement generated by Hibernate. So specify the property Spring.JPA dot show dash SQL equal true, and we want Hibernate to format the SQL statement. So we specify this property Spring.JPA dot properties dot Hibernate dot format dash SQL equal true. That's for the application configuration for database connection information. And next, we need to code an entity class to map with a table in the database. So create a new Java class here. The name of the class is product. This is the entity class, and we declare the properties for this entity. The first property is the first instance field is the product ID, and then the product name, and then the product price, which is of type float, and we generate constructors for this entity class. Source generate constructor using fields and check ID. Okay, and we create another constructor with no argument. Generate, and we also need to generate getters and setters. Check all the fields. Okay, here we go. And we use JPA annotations to map this entity class with the table in the database. The first annotation is entity from a javax.persistent, and the second annotation is the table. We map this entity class with the table name products in the database. And for the ID field, we use the annotation ID to indicate that this maps to a primary key in the database table. And we specify the generated value annotation with the strategy generation type identity to indicate that the values of this field are automatically generated by the database. The field name and price have the same name with the columns in the database, so we don't need to use we don't need to specify the column name, but we need to specify the attribute length. Maximum length for the name is 64 characters. Okay, that's for the entity class. And to use Spring Data JPA, we need to declare an interface. And so create a new Java interface here. The name of the interface is product repository. Finished. And we have this interface extend CRUD repository interface from Spring Data JPA, and the type of the entity type is product, and the type of the ID field is integer. As you can see in the entity class product here, the ID field has type integer. And the CRUD repository interface declares Accessory method for CRUD operations: create, retrieve, save here, save all, file by ID for retrieve operation, file all for retrieve operation, delete by ID for delete operation, save method for create and update operations. And now we need to test a CRUD operation with this product repository. So in the test folder here, we have the generated product app application test when we create the project. But we create another test class for the product repository class. We name this class as product test. Finish. And we annotate this class with the data JPA test annotation. Data JPA test annotation. Yeah. This annotation we disable all the full auto configuration, as you can see here in its document. We disable full auto configuration and apply only configuration relevant to JPA test. So we use this data JPA test annotation. In Spring Boot, we apply only configuration relevant to JPA test, and it doesn't apply full automatic configuration. And in this test method, we can auto-while an instance of the product repository interface. Auto-while private product repository and we write the first unit test method test public void test create product, and we create a new instance of the product class. Product equal new product name and price, name iPhone 10, price 789, and we save this product object, proceed this product object repo dot save product. Okay, now we'll run this first test method. You can open the outline view to see the method to be able to run the unit test. So view outline here, the outline view, and here you see the test create product method here. Right click, you run as the unit test. And we got an error here. You can see failed to replace data source with an embedded database for test, because by default Spring Boot Spring Data JPA uses an in-memory database S2. So we need to specify a dependency for S2 database in the pom.html file here. So the required dependencies are Spring Boot Starter Data JPA, Spring Boot Starter Test, and S2 for in-memory database, which is the default test database used by Data JPA test. So here we need to specify the dependency for S2 database. Dependency group ID is com.h2 database, and artifact ID is h2, and the scope of this dependency is runtime. Now I'll run this test method again. And you can see the test has passed successfully with a green check mark and green indicator bar here. And look at the console view, and you can see, look at the console view, you can see Hibernate prints the SQL statement to drop the table if exists products, and create the table products ID, integer, name, price, and it prints the statement insert into product. But it is using in-memory database S2, so all the operations done on an in-memory database. So if you refresh the MySQL, you will see no change. Refresh all, and you see no tables got created because the test is using S2 in-memory database, as you can see in the console view here. Replacing data source with embedded version. You can see the embedded database URL is JBC S2 here. So if you want to use the real database, you need to specify the annotation auto configure database here. Auto configure database. Auto configure test database, and specify the attribute the best equal none. So Spring Data JPA test won't replace the database specified in the application properties here by an embedded database S2. And we assign the return value of this saved product, and we assert that this saved product is not no saved product. Okay, and now let's run this test method again with the auto configure the test database none. That means we use the database specified in the application properties file. And now in the database we don't have any tables yet, you see. Now run this test method again. We got an error. Failed to load driver class com.mysql.cj.jbc driver. I forgot to specify the dependency for MySQL JDBC driver. So let's specify the dependency for MySQL JDBC driver here. Group ID is MySQL. Artifact ID is MySQL connector -java, and version is 5.1.46. This version is compatible to the version of MySQL on the database server on my computer, or we can skip this version because Spring Boot we use the default. Now we'll run this test method again. Congratulations, the test create product method has passed. You can see the green check mark here, and in the console view you can see it is using MySQL database, and Hibernate prints the SQL statement to drop the table if exists, create the table products, and insert into the product table with name and price. And now let's check the database test schema here. Refresh all, and you can see the table products got created here with columns ID, name, and price. And now let's select rows from this table, and you can see it is empty because by default in the test method we roll back the transaction, delete the data, as you can see here. Roll back transaction for test here, you can see. So the data is removed from the database. So if you want to keep the data inserted generated by the test method, you need to specify this annotation. Rollback false, and run this test create product method again, but this time we need to specify the value none to this property Hibernate.edl-auto, because the database table already created products here. And now let's run this test method again. You see the test has been successful, and you can see Hibernate prints the insert SQL statement into products, and you see the login message committed transaction for test here. That means Hibernate persist the test data into the database, and it didn't roll back the data. Now let's check the database. Refresh. Yeah, you see product what created here, inserted here in the table products with name iPhone 10 rise 789. Very good, right? Next, let's code the second test method in the product test class here. And this time I want to test file product by its name. So I write a new test method here. Test annotation. Public void test file product by name. String. Name is iPhone 10. And the repository interface has provides the method file by name. It provides file by ID, and now in the product repository class we declare a convention method to file product by name, public product. File by name, string name. file by name here, and this return product object, product, and we assert the name of this product with the name here. Assert that product get name is equal to the name here. Okay, now let's run this test method. Test find product by name. Yeah, run as JUnit test. And you can see this test method has passed successfully. Test prime product by name. And if we change the product name to different name, the test should fail. For example, the name iPhone 11 and run the test method again, and it should fail. You see, the test failed because there's no product with name iPhone 11 in the database. So we should have two test methods to find product. The first test find that product exists, and the second test finds that the product doesn't exist. The first one exists iPhone 10, and the second one my product name not exist iPhone 11. And with this case, in test case, the return product object should be no, so we assert no product. Now let's run this test method. Test product by name not exist. You see, the test has been successfully. And next, let's code the test method to test updating a product. Test public void test update product string product name. We want to update the product iPhone 10 to product Kindle Reader. Create a new product object. Product with name and price. Price 199. And set the product ID. Set ID, which is 2 in the database. As you can see here, we have an existing product with ID 2 in my phone 10, price 789 in the database, and we set the ID of the product 2 here. And then we call repo set product. And to assert this test case, we get the product object again by name. Product product equal file by name, and then product name. And we assert that the product name of the updated product here equal to the product name here. Assert that updated product get name is equal to the product name variable here. Now let's run this test method, test update product. Next, the unit test. You see the test has passed successfully, and you can see Hibernate prints the select and update SQL statement. Select and update SQL statement here, and let's check the database here. Refresh. I think it is Rollback, as you can see here. Rollback transaction. So if we want to keep the changes made by the test method, we need to specify the property rollback here, rollback false. Yeah. And now let's run this test method again. The test has been passed successfully, and in the console view, you can see this time Hibernate committed the transaction here. Let's check the database, and you can see the product name updated to Kindle Reader and price also got updated 199. And next, let's write another test method to test list all products from the database for the retrieve operation in CRUD operations. Test public void test list products. The repository interface already provides a method before 5.0 here. So we assign the return value to a list of products equal. And we need to cast the return. Add cast to list product. And to assert this test method, we assert the size of the list. Assert that products collections size is greater than 0. And let's run this test method, test list products. The test has been successfully, and you can see Hibernate prints the select SQL statement here. We can write some extra code to print each product in the list products. This is product, and in the product entity class we implement the override the toString method to print the details of the product. Override toString for ID, name, and price. Okay, and in the database we insert another product, iPhone 999. Okay, apply, finish, and run this test method again. The test passed successfully, and in the console view you can see it prints 2 products, ID 2 Kindle Reader and ID 3 is iPhone 9. Very good, right? And next, let's write code for the test method that tests deleting a product. The last operation in the setup CRUD operations: create, retrieve, update, and delete as delete product. And we delete the product ID integer ID equal. This time we delete the product ID 2, and to delete this product, we call the method of the repository interface and delete by ID. And to assert this method, first before deleting, we should find the product by this ID boolean present 1 equal repo file by ID and is present. And after deleting, we call this method again present 2, and we assert that the value of present 1 is true because the product that exists before deleting. Assert true present 1. To make the code more readable, we change this variable name to is exist before delete, and change this variable name to not exist after delete, and we assert false for that variable. False, not exist after delete. And because this test delete product method, we change this to the database. So if we want to see the changes, the product got deleted, we need to specify that this method one roll back the database. So we specify the annotation rollback false, and now run this test delete product method. Before that, let's see in the database we have 2 rows in the products table: Kindle Reader and iPhone 9. And now let's run this test delete product method, run the unit test. And you see the test delete product method has passed the test successfully. And in the console view, you can see Hibernate print the SQL delete statement, and it also committed the transaction. That means the product was deleted from the database. And now let's select all rows from the product table again. And you see only iPhone 9 remains in the table, and the product Kindle Reader was deleted. So far, we have written code for the CRUD testing methods: test create, test retrieve, test select, test list all here. Test create, test find, test list, test update, test delete, all the CRUD operation of products. And now we want to run all the test methods in this test class with an embedded database in memory database. We don't want to touch the real database, so delete this annotation and try to run this test class. Right click, run as JUnit test. It will create the in-memory database S2, and now you can see all the test methods failed. Let's see. table product not found. We need to change the value Hibernate DDL auto here to create and drop. So it will create and drop the database. Now let's run this test class event 1. You can see all the test methods has have passed successfully, and you can see in the console view it is replacing data source with embedded version, which is a S2 in-memory database, and Hibernate print the SQL statement, create the table products, insert into products, select product, delete from product, and we don't see the update SQL statement. Update, test update product. And finally, at the end of the test, it drops the table product here. But I still don't see the SQL statement to update product insert into. We don't see the update SQL statement for the test update product method because we specify the ID of the product is 2, so it will proceed a new product object or insert a new row into the database. So we need to specify the ID here is 1. And as you can see in the unit test here, the that method not executed in any specified order. You can see it run test file product by name not exist first and test file product by name exist last. If we want to run the test method in a specified order, we can use the annotation order. In the unit test, we can specify the test method order to specify the order of the test method by a number, order annotation dot class. And you want to run this test create product method first, so we annotate with this order annotation and the number 1. So this test create product we executed first, and then we want to run this test file product by name exist. So we specify order 2 for this method, and test file product by name not exist 3. You can see this product was executed last here. It is not executed in the order it appears in the code. And for the test update product, I want to run it after this method. So order is 4th, and that list is order 5th, and test delete the order 6th. Okay, that list is last test method to be executed. Okay, and now Let's run the product test class again. Run. And you can see now the test methods executed in the order we specify. Test create block first and file block by name exist. File block by name not exist. Update list and delete is the last. But in the test delete block method, we got an error so that this test failed. So let's see what happened. Because we are trying to delete the product with ID 2, which does not exist in the database. So we need to update. So delete ID 1 here. Okay. Now let's run the test method again. I want to change the order. I want to run the test list products before test update. So I change the order. This is in fourth order and the test update product in fifth order. Now, as you can see, now run this test class event. You see all the test methods have passed successfully, and now you can see the test list products were executed before test update product as we specify the order in the code. And in the console view you can see the update SQL statement printed here, update product here and delete here. And finally, we drop the table products and all happen in memory with S2 database. Okay, that's good. So far you have learned how to write a unit test for Spring Boot project with Spring Data JPA, Hibernate and MySQL database. You've learned how to use the following annotation: Data JPA test, auto configure test database, rollback, and test method order and order. I hope you have found this video tutorial helpful. Please click subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. Thank you.